So we're reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is. We're doing the introduction. So it's page 13, we're starting from the second paragraph. Page 13, introduction. Page 13, introduction. Bhagavad Gita as it is, page 13. I think it's the third paragraph of the second paragraph. It's the complete whole. Starting the complete whole. Okay. So the complete whole, the personality of Godhead has immense potencies. Parasya, Shakti, Vida, Toa, Shroyate. How Krishna is acting in different potencies is also explained in Bhagavad Gita. This phenomenal world or material world in which we are placed is also complete in itself because the 24 elements of which this material universe is a temporary manifestation according to Sankhya philosophy are completely adjusted to produce complete resources which are necessary for maintenance and subsistence of this universe. There is nothing extraneous. What is that? Extraneous. Nor is there anything needed. This manifestation has its own time fixed by the energy of the spring world, And when it is time to complete this temporary manifestation, will be annihilated by the complete arrangement of the complete. There is no complete facility for the small complete units, namely the living entities, to realize the complete, and all sorts of incompleteness are experienced due to incomplete knowledge of the complete. So, Bhagavad Gita contains the complete knowledge of Vedic wisdom. All Vedic knowledge is infallible, and Hindus accept Vedic knowledge to be complete and infallible. For example, cow dung is the stool of an animal, and according to Smriti or Vedic injunctions, if one touches the stool of an animal, he has to take a bath to purify himself. But in the Vedic scriptures, cow dung is considered to be purifying agent. One might consider this to be contradictory, but it is accepted because it is Vedic injunctions. And indeed, by accepting this, one will not commit a mistake. Subsequently, it has been proved by modern science that cow dung contains all antiseptic properties. So Vedic knowledge is complete because it is above all doubts and mistakes. And Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all Vedic knowledge. The cow dung thing, I don't know, so much practice, I don't know, from depending from where you're coming from. Cow dung has been used for so many things, especially like where I come from, we use it as a plastering agent. After the house is completely built, the finishing touch is the cow dung, on the floor. Yes, and on the walls, and it gives a very nice, like cement. So, and it is, actually, if you don't do that, then you're bound to be attacked. So many insects, cockroaches. The worst is the jiggers. The jiggers, the fleas. The fleas, then they turn into jiggers. So if you don't so it's from a very long time this has been, proven by, with the traditionalists, whatever, cultures, from very far way back. So, and we see here, it's, the way, the Vedic scriptures is, considering it, and also the scientists have found out that it's, it's pure. So, Kauda by nature is pure. So, Vedic knowledge is not a question of research. Our research is imperfect because we are researching things with imperfect senses. We have to accept perfect knowledge which comes down as stated in Bhagavad Gita by the parampara succession. We have to receive knowledge from the proper source in disciplined succession, beginning with the supreme spiritual master, the Lord Himself, and handed down to a succession of spiritual masters. Arjuna, the student who took lessons from Lord Sri Krishna, accepts everything that he says without contradicting him. One is not allowed to accept one portion of Bhagavad Gita and not another. No, we must accept Bhagavad Gita without interpretation, without deletion, and without our own whimsical participation in the matter. The Gita should be taken as the most perfect presentation of Vedic knowledge. Vedic knowledge is received from transcendental sources, and the first words were spoken by the Lord Himself. The words spoken by the Lord are called Paraseya, meaning that they are different from words spoken by a person of the mundane world who is infected with 4 defects. A mundane one is sure to commit mistakes. 2 is invariably illusion. 3 has the tendency to cheat others. And 4 is limited by imperfect senses. With these 4 imperfections, one cannot deliver perfect information of all pervading knowledge. Vedic knowledge is not impaired by such defective living entities. It was imparted unto the heart of Brahma, the first created living being, and Brahma, in his turn, disseminated this knowledge to his sons and disciples, as he originally received it from the Lord. The Lord is Purnam, all perfect, and there is no possibility of his becoming subjected to the laws of particular nature. One should therefore be intelligent enough to know that the Lord is the only proprietor of everything in the universe, and that He is the original creator, the creator of Brahma. In the 11th chapter, the Lord is addressed as Maha, because Brahma is addressed as Pitamaha, the grandfather. And he is the creator of the grandfather. So, no one should claim the proprietor of anything. One should accept only things set aside for him by the Lord as his quota for his maintenance. There are many examples given of how we are to utilize those things which are set aside for us by the Lord. This is also explained in Bhagavad Gita. In the beginning, Arjuna decided that he should not fight in the battle of Kurukshetra. This was his own decision. Arjuna told the Lord that it was not possible for him to enjoy the kingdom after killing all his kinsmen. This decision was based on the body because he was thinking that the body was himself and his bodily relations or expansions were his brothers, nephews, brother-in-laws, grandfather, and so on. Therefore, he wanted to satisfy his bodily demands. Bhagavad Gita was spoken by the Lord just to change this view. And at the end, Arjuna decides to fight under the directions of the Lord when he says, Karishe Vachanam Tava, I shall act according to your word. In this world, men are not meant for quarreling like cats and dogs. Men must be intelligent to realize the importance of human life and refuse to act like ordinary animals. A human being should realize the aim of his life, and this direction is given in all the literatures, and the essence is given in Bhagavad Gita. Vedic literature is meant for human beings, not for animals. Animals can kill other living animals, and there is no question of sin on their part. But if a man kills an animal for the satisfaction of his uncontrolled taste, he must be responsible for breaking the laws of nature. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly explained that there are three kinds of activities according to different modes of nature. The activities of goodness, of passion, and of ignorance. Similarly, there are three kinds of eatables, also eatables in goodness, passion, and ignorance. All this is clearly described, and if we probably utilize the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, then our whole life will become purified, and ultimately we will be able to reach the destination which is beyond the material sky. Yad gata nivatate tat dhamma parama mama. So this purification process, we find it in Bhagavad Gita. I mean, because I always refer this from the Bible, that there is a verse that says that it's only the pure that shall see God. But in the Bible, we don't have any process of purification. I mean, there is no any description as to how we can purify ourselves to see God. So basically, we see God can be seen. But there is a process of seeing God, and that process is by purifying ourselves. And that is the essence of Bhagavad Gita, to purify our existence so that we can finally see the splendor of God. The destination is called the Sanatana sky, the eternal spiritual sky. In this material world, we find that everything is temporary. It comes into being, stays for some time, produces some byproducts, dwindles, and then vanishes. That is the law of material world. Whether we use as an example this body or a piece of fruit or anything. But beyond this temporary world, there is another world of which we have information. That world consists of other nature, which is Sanatana, eternal. The Jiva is also described as Sanatana, eternal. And the Lord is also described as Sanatana in the 11th chapter. We have an intimate relationship with the Lord, and because we are all qualitatively one, the Sanatana Dhamma, or sky, the Sanatana Supreme Personality, and Sanatana living entities, the whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to revive our Sanatana occupation, or Sanatana Dhamma, which is the eternal occupation of the living entity. We are temporarily engaged in different activities, but all of these activities can be purified. Then we give up all these temporary activities and take up the activities which are prescribed by the Supreme. That is called our pure life. So also this Sanatana issue, Sanatana Dhamma, because all other, people are always asking me what religion I am, a Christian or Muslim, and you find all these religions, they have a beginning. It was started at some point, So, but Sanatana Dhamma has been there. It's an eternal religion, so it has been existing, and so we are engaging ourselves in something that has been, the Sanatana Dhamma has been existing forever. So we just engaging ourselves for, what do you call it? Kudalia. Because we have, somehow we have forgotten our constitutional position as the eternal servants of the Supreme Personality of God. Like it's been previously said that, the temporary material world. So we kind of relate with the temporary, this body, mind, like Arjun was, in that state of mind, my grandfather, all these things, why we like him. And then when he was, instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then he came to his senses. And similarly, as fallen souls of Kali Yuga, we have, been awakened, or we have been, given instruction by our spiritual master, the Guru, and thus we have awakened, from our deep slumber. And then now we are engaging, or we are going back home to, that is the word, going back home, back to. So we have engaged ourselves in this devotional service so that we can go back home. The Supreme Lord and His transcendental abode are both Sanatana, as are the living entities and the combined association of the Supreme Lord and the living entities in Sanatana abode is the perfection of human life. The Lord is very kind to the living entities because they are His sons. Lord Krishna declares in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvaya Nesu Aham Bija Patapitam. I am the Father of all. Of course, there are all types of living entities according to their various karmas. But here the Lord claims that He is the Father of all of them. Therefore, the Lord descends to reclaim all of His fallen conditioned souls, to call them back to the Sanatana eternal sky, so that the Sanatana living entities may in eternal association with the Lord. The Lord comes Himself in different incarnations, or He sends His confidential servants as sons, or His associates, or acharyas to reclaim the conditioned souls. Therefore, Sanatana Dharma does not refer to any sectarian process of religion. It is the eternal function of the eternal living entities in relationship with the eternal Supreme Lord. Sanatana Dharma refers to the as stated previously, to the eternal occupation of the living entity. Shripada Ramanuja Acharya has explained the word Sanatana as that which has neither beginning nor an end. So when we speak of Sanatana Dharma, we must take it for granted on the authority of Shripada Ramanuja Acharya that it has neither beginning nor an end. The English word religion is a little different from Sanatana Dharma. Religion conveys the idea of faith, and faith may change. One may have faith in a particular process, and he may change his faith and adopt another. But the Sanatana Dharma refers to the activity which cannot be changed. For instance, liquidity cannot be changed from water, nor can heat be taken from fire. Similarly, the eternal function of the eternal living entity cannot be taken from the living entity. Sanatana Dharma is eternally integral with the living entity. When we speak of Sanatana Dharma, therefore, we must take it for granted on the authority of Srimad Ramanuja Acharya that it has neither beginning nor end. That which has neither end nor beginning must not be secretarial. For it cannot be limited by any boundaries. Thus, belonging to some sectarian faith will wrongly consider that Sanatana Dharma is also sectarian. But if we go deeply into the matter and consider in the light of modern science it is possible for us to say that Sanatana Dhamma is the very business of all the living people of the world, nay, of all living entities of the universe. So this is another example or another truthfulness of what we say, the sole purpose of this Sanatana, like Prabhupada says that we can change, religion can change. You can have this faith, tomorrow you change to another faith. And you cannot change your constitutional position as the servant of the Supreme Personality of God. You will always have to be as a servant. So as we come into this material world, then we become so much engaged in serving all sorts of, family, cars, whatever, dogs, whatever, we always fall into this, trap of, trying to be of service. So naturally we are kind of, we have to give service. But so the real service is to serve the Supreme Personality of God. Otherwise, we end up, serving our own senses and becoming illusions or forgetting our real path. So non-Sanatana religious faith may have some beginning in the annals of human history, but there is no beginning to the history of Sanatana Dhamma, because it remains eternally with the living entity. Insofar as the living entities are concerned, the authoritative Shastras state that the living entity has neither birth nor death. In the Gita, it is stated that the living entity is never born and he never dies. He is eternal and indestructible. And he continues to live after the destruction of this temporal material body. In reference to the concept of Sanatana Dhamma, we must try to understand the concept of religion from the Sanskrit roots, meaning of the word. Dhamma refers to that which is constantly existing with a particular object. We conclude that there is heat and light along with the fire. Without heat and light, there is no meaning with the word fire. Similarly, we must consider the eternal part of the living being, that part which is constant companion. That constant companion is the eternal quality, and that eternal quality is his eternal religion. So we'll stop there. By also trying to consider our constitutional position, as it's stated here. Our basic understanding of the Bhagavad Gita is that we are not this body, aham brahmasmi, aham spirit, soul, and spirit is eternal, like just been described here. It's not destroyed, burned, withered, or whatever. So it should be engaged in its eternal constitution. It should be put up to its place, and that place is the Sanatana Dhamma. Shriman Bhagavad Gita. Any questions, comments? Gopinath Prabhu, kama uko hapo, kwa moto sana.